This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information.
Well, hey guys, welcome to another edition of Game Time, and I am here as always. And we're going to do it a little different today. You guys have been asking for Hello Kitty. We've got Hello Kitty right here. Jayde Shelion is in the house. You always wondered,
everybody.
Well, everybody wanted to know what your last name was. She finally has put it out.
Yeah.
And actually put her real last name out there.
The opportunity to run a background check on me, you know.
Yep. Make sure that you're there's nothing going on. No things in your past coming back to haunt us. So you're looking fine with your Hello Kitty ears. They haven't broken, right? I like that. What did you say that they were?
Razor Kraken.
They're cracking. Oh, they're crack-a-lacking, all right.
Wait, no. Razor Kraken Bluetooth Kitty Edition.
Ooh. So my question,
fancy.
Bill, where is yours? You said last week you were getting some, and I half expected to see some today.
I will have to look.
Oh,
I'll have to look for some.
They're saying,
I'm sure I can find them.
Bill has a pass. He had a traumatic experience in the last 48 hours, so we're gonna give him a pass.
Okay.
They said your name is Natasha. So which is it? You know what? I'll change it to Natasha Shelion. How's that?
There you go.
Natasha has not arrived yet. She is on way.
Well, guys, we really appreciate you coming out. We've got a bunch of news. Not a lot in the home arcade space. There is some stuff, okay, but there's a lot to talk about outside the home arcade space. That's for sure. E3 around the corner, and I know a lot of people have been asking if different companies were going to be there. We're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. But other than that, I think we even have a surprise product in hand that happens to be 1/6 scale, because mine's not here yet. Darn you, West Coasters. Can we give a sneak peek, Jayde? Like, if we, turn it, backwards or something?
My name is not Jayde.
Oh, I'm sorry. Natasha. Can we see a I just realized she did the whole 80s thing, pulled things off her shoulders. I just realized that. Can we see the backside?
How can I help you gentlemen today?
We want to see the back of the
my backside? How dare you? Okay, hold on just 1 minute.
Oh, that just went downhill. In the meantime, while she's doing that, I'm going to say hi to everybody in the chat room. MG, we've got in the house. We've got Hollywood Polo, Adam, Rexer, who else? Dolores Peters. MG, don't start on me about pre-ordering stuff, man. Seriously. You know how it goes.
You're starting already, huh?
But hey, I got my Sony controller. Did you see that? I pre-ordered it from Sony. They know how to get it to you. What do we got here? Horizon Dream. Welcome. G.I. Joel, Mitchell R, Mike Hawk. Yeah, I know. Endless One Up. Bono's Tecmo. If I didn't say your name, get it back in the chat room, because it scrolls past me and I've got a combined chat for Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So I got to try to say, flip it around though, because I don't want to show what it is yet. Listen to Mike. This is a family show. Turn it around. Go ahead. Put it up. You're full screen. All right, we're gonna show a quick sneak peek later on in the show. We're gonna actually dive into. You put it back down.
No, I'm gonna grab it in just a second.
Oh, okay.
It's just
Okay.
that I want to show everybody the chair that I'm sitting on. So
okay.
Sorry, it's gonna be kind of hold myself up, but guys, I just was sitting on this.
Oh,
Oh.
Did that hurt?
It's very, very effective, very heavy duty.
That's something I know Bill wants to talk about later. So there's look at. So this is one of the things we're going to talk about later. So you want to stick around. Maybe somebody's actually going to figure out what it is just by the stickers on the back. This is pretty well made to the exact specs of the 1/6 scale arcade. So if you know what it is, go ahead and put it in the chat room, have some fun. But later on, we're going to we're gonna tear into it, give you a little sneak peek on it. But I think there's an elephant in the room. Another elephant. There's a lot of elephants in the room. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 information. Got some Arcade 1-Up news, which will be short and sweet and to the point after this.
Arcade 1-Up. News and notes.
Okay, I honestly think, guys, I think that bumper is longer than what the Arcade 1-Up news we have this week. I honestly think so. So if you guys were wondering, and I know a lot of you guys are, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 tomorrow, Travis and his team, online news update tomorrow for the on the One Update show. that's the One Update show. Come on, Travis. That's the best they could come up with, the One Update show. So they're only going to give you one update.
I thought they were changing the name to One Up Yours.
Ooh.
I didn't make that up. That was somebody else who brought that up.
So you can see right here, Travis said that the brand new show that's gonna air tomorrow, for all you guys who have been wanting Marvel vs. Capcom 2 online, maybe you'll get some positive information. But if it's anything like their pre-order system, don't hold your breath. That's all I'm gonna say. Bill, what do you think? Are you excited to hear about what's coming? Are you waiting for online, or are you just kind of like me, content with playing it offline with your friends?
Look, I'm happy with the way it is. I would like them to get online play on there because I know a lot of people have been waiting for it. I'm more interested just to see the format and what this show is going to be like, to be honest with you. Okay. I'm just curious to see, what their plan is for this particular show, how it's going to be different from that One-Up show, and that kind of stuff. So,
but will it be a banger?
Like I said, I'm more curious.
Will it be a banger? Hollywood Polo wants to know, will it be a banger?
I wouldn't count on it.
Jade, Jade, what's your thoughts
on MVC2?
With the whole online thing, like, I mean, have you been content with just the way it is? I mean, I know you're more of a competition player and change everything out so it's not going to break when you play it because you're really hard on it.
I mean, I think it'll be good for people who are wanting it. Like I said, for me, that cab is more of a like a collector's item, I guess. So I think it's, exciting if there's some movement there. While at the same time, it's like it's been so long, it's been such a long road. I feel like that meme from that Leonardo DiCaprio movie where he's like surviving in the woods and almost gets eaten by a bear. Like that's how I feel right at this point.
Well,
so great. I hope it has some production value. I hope it looks better than.
It won't. That's the problem. I mean,
yeah, no. I hope it looks a little bit better at least. I mean,
yeah,
it might soothe the pain.
I hope so. Oh, Brooklyn Menace says it's a great show because every time they do it, it sparks up weeks of controversy. I am sure, and I'd put money on it. I'm going to put money on it that you're going to see you're probably going to see about 30 videos before the announcement tomorrow. Okay, so you're going to have the speculation of what they're going to say. Then they're going to do the announcement, and those same people are going to do 30 more speculative videos to give their synopsis of it. Okay, so I 100% agree with Brooklyn Menace. It kind of for me it gets old. I don't do videos like that, and I'm not. I get it. People are trying to do.
It's kind of like
it's just kind of like
the. It's kind of like the jock guy in like the 80s horror movie that's like, come on, Sally, you want it. You want it, bitch.
So let's talk about this because Jay Cutts put in there, while we're still talking about Arcade 1-Up. Now, he says, can we talk about how the KI cabs got bricked? Now, the guy that posted this, I've been following this, He actually
Mhm.
came back and said it didn't get bricked. So
Right.
I don't know what, is there something I'm missing with this? Because I mean, Bill, do you know anything about this, or Jade?
I saw a couple of the posts and comments, same thing, that he claimed it got bricked, and then he came back and said no, it didn't. So I think what happened, it seems like what happened was, something temporarily caused it to get messed up, but he actually called and worked with Code Mystic to get it back up and running. So whatever is actually going on with it, Code Mystics is on top of it, and they're making sure that they fix whatever the issue is.
I love.
I
Go ahead, Jade. Go ahead. I was just going to read the comment, but go ahead.
I don't know very much about it, but what I was gonna say is in order for you to brick a system, like you literally have to fry it, like actually fry your system, because generally speaking, there's always a way to get
Yeah.
back into the software portion of the system as long as it's turning on. You can like reboot it in some way, form, or
Yeah.
fashion.
Yeah, I mean,
So but that's good. Like
I-
I mean, Code Mystics is always easily like readily available and willing to like figure out whatever's going on. Like they want to fix whatever
Mhm.
issues.
well, I was
there
going to
would
ask
be,
you, Jade.
so-
You were beta testing with that, with Code Mystics, and obviously you're using beta firmware and putting stuff on it. That's where you really run into the potential of bricking anything. Anybody that's done beta testing with software and firmware, know you run
Yeah.
the risk.
Mhm.
Did you, during that time, did you ever get to a position where it was going to brick your KI?
No, I mean we were updating almost
Probably
once a day.
daily. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sometimes even there might have been like one or two times where we actually ran a separate update in the same day, like one in the morning and then one in the evening. But I never had an issue with it.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot with AtGames over the years of firmware, and I've never had it to the point where it bricked it to where you couldn't, get it back to its state. I'm not saying it's not possible. Don't get me wrong, but I haven't personally had it, and Kongs R Us has done a lot of modding with these cabinets, both with the pinball. He's done a lot, and I've not once heard him, say that he's gotten to the point where he couldn't fix it. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say really with it because I don't have KI, so I don't. It's one that if I get rid of my iiRcade, that's what I'm going to put in there. So, it's just it's hard to say with all this. It really is because I've done firmware updates on a lot of these machines and I haven't bricked it. I think even when you connect to the internet and it downloads it, even if the connection's interrupted, it kind of rolls back the download till you re-download it again. And
Yeah, there's usually
If it-
always some kind of
Yeah,
safe
if it's done
mode.
right.
yeah,
If it's done right. I know B had that issue with his was it his Big Blue? Was it
oh, that's right.
where-
Yeah,
where he stopped it in the middle of doing the update and it totally messed it up and it took him a while to get back to it.
yeah.
So you can potentially mess it up with something like
so-
that for sure.
So Jay in the chat room, he says I've actually seen a bunch of bricked A1 up pinball machines. One more today even. Can I ask you, is it because they're trying to add all those extra games onto it? Like everybody's taking one pinball machine and they're putting all the games into it? Or is it just doing an arcade one up firmware patch? Like they used to have the firmware on there, but they took it down for some reason or another. I'm just curious because a lot of times when you're side loading firmware that's not necessarily built for the device or it's been altered in some way, shape, or form, that's when you start running into problems, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
And I saw too, while we're talking about this, because then we're going to move on here. I saw that for Shop Hippo, for the orders of those of you guys getting some Star Wars, I saw that they started coming in. So you should be getting your shipments from Shop Hippo on your Star Wars cap. Did you end up ordering it, Bill?
Not yet. I'm still debating on it, so we'll see. I think I'm going to wind up pulling the trigger. I just didn't do it yet.
I will say, Jay, that the PCBs overheat and you have to do the mod. There's a mod that I did where I take it out of it's attached to the monitor, and you have to bend the metal all up and suspend the PCB so that the airflow goes through. That seems to keep it from overheating, but I 100% agree with you. The one today, he said, was totally stock. The PCB craps out, and that's why they're crapping out. They're overheating, and that's not good. I mean, that needs to be addressed. I would 100%. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a $700 paperweight. So Console Fanboy says, I was going to stop super chatting to save money for Mortal Kombat 4, but since we can't even get 1,000 signatures, there you go. Take my money. I don't care anymore. If if you haven't signed the petition for Mortal Kombat 4, I'm sure he'll throw it in the chat room. Console Fanboy, feel free to throw that in there if people want to sign that. Bill, why don't we cut to your segment really quick? The Retro Gaming Spotlight. Why don't you preface this a little bit, and we'll kick it into it.
Well, I think a lot of people know that a very special game got released for Switch and Xbox last week, GoldenEye, and I took a look at it, and here are my thoughts.
Retro Gaming Spotlight.
So the N64 classic GoldenEye was recently released for Xbox Game Pass and the Switch Online service. And while there are some differences between the two versions, it's still the classic GoldenEye game. I was hyped for this game to come out, but having played it on the Switch, I have to say, I'm a little disappointed. Now don't get me wrong, the game looks great. It feels like they bumped up the frame rate as it doesn't feel as stuttery as I remember the game being on N64. And the addition of widescreen support is a nice touch. Unfortunately, the game controls horribly on Switch. I wish they would add the ability to map controls within the game, or at least within the N64 app on Switch. That's one of the things that makes this game better on Xbox, the ability to map it to the Xbox controller. Unfortunately, that version doesn't have online play, so it's a bit of a trade-off. The best suggestion I can make is to use the 1.2 solitaire control scheme, and possibly to set the look up down option to upright. Now it plays better this way once you get used to it, but I still found myself looking up and down when I wanted to move forward. I suppose if I had the N64 controller for Switch, then it might be better, but those are still hard to get your hands on. In the end, while GoldenEye is still a classic, they really need to find a way to be able to remap the controllers in the games so that they can be played more like a modern shooter. And yes, I have seen some videos where people mention remapping buttons within the Switch system settings and then saving it as its own profile. But to me, that just seems like a clunky way to be able to play, at least for now, this one game. You know, if they're going to make changes to the games anyway, such as enhanced textures and frame rates, adding online support, widescreen, such as with this game, then they should go the extra step and just add button remapping as well. Have you tried GoldenEye on Switch or Xbox? If so, what are your thoughts? Let us know in the chat.
All right, so there you have it. GoldenEye, good game. Controls absolutely suck on it. At least on the Switch. On the Switch, they do. Look,
that's what everybody's saying. The Switch is.
They really need to figure out a better way to let you map controls to a Joy-Con or a regular controller, at least for the N64 games. I mean, there's some games on there that, you know, play fine. They're just standard controls. But there are certain games like GoldenEye. There's another game on there that's similar called Winback. There's an on-rail shooter, one Sin and Punishment, which was more of a Japanese game.
Sin and Punishment. That's cool.
Yeah. Another one that plays like crap with a regular controller. Unless you've got one of the N64 controllers for Switch, which are really hard to get. It's so hard to play these games. I mean, there are things you can do to make it a little better, but I don't understand why they can't just add button mapping to it. They make all these other changes to the games anyway. They added widescreen support. they bump up frame rates, they do all this stuff. Just add button mapping. It would make the game so much better, so much easier to play.
So Bo also is saying in the chat room, he said, plus Xbox is only 30 frames per second.
Yeah, Microsoft, way to go.
But
Way
wasn't
to
the
go, Microsoft.
original like only like 24.9 or 25 frames a second? Or
Yeah, I mean they're both locked. They're both locked to a steady 30 FPS. So I mean, like your overall experience is going to be like smoother. But I think everybody was wanting, like 60 FPS, and
yeah,
those are decisions that the devs don't make. They are given a specific set of instructions, and then that's what they follow. So
yeah,
they can give recommendations, but that doesn't mean that the company like Microsoft, for example, is going to give two hoots.
Right. So Biggie D saying Code Mystics did the Xbox version. I thought I was under the impression
if they had added online play to the Xbox version, that would be the one to beat. That would be the one everybody would be.
Why wouldn't they? Microsoft has the better online experience than Switch. Switch is terrible with online experience for multiplayer.
I don't know why they didn't do that for it. It's just weird that version didn't get online play like the Switch version did.
So Bo is also saying it plays better than the original, yes, but it's still disappointing. And I think, Bill, that was your...
Absolutely.
So it's not worth paying, what is it, the $100 and some that you got to pay for the year to get access to this game?
If that's the only game you're interested in, then no. I mean, as long as they keep adding, with the Switch expansion pack, right now you get N64 games, you get Genesis games. Those are the ones they added with the online expansion. And some extra things like the Mario Kart, all the new DLC tracks that they're doing are all included. You don't have to pay extra for those. So there are definite perks to having it. I enjoy having it because there are a lot of games that are still a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Replaying Mario 64, replaying the Zelda games. They put a lot of really fun games on there. Just some games just play better than others if you don't have that N64 controller.
Do you guys think that, just like with movie remakes, like I was watching, I've seen so many iterations of the Ninja Turtles, I've seen so many iterations of Transformers, I've seen so many iterations of even TV shows that my daughter used to watch, like Strawberry Shortcake, all these different ones, right?
Mm-hmm. Even
remakes of movies. MacGyver, one of my all-time favorite TV shows, and do you think that this whole remaking of the game, or just leave well enough alone? It's a classic for a reason. It's like you don't take a 1950s car and start adding all these new modern parts to it. It's a classic for a reason, and I don't know. I have a problem with that when you take away that nostalgia that we all once had. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but it just makes no sense to me. Jade's being quiet over there. I don't know if she agrees or disagrees.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to think of how I can even answer that question, because, I mean, first of all, it'll probably get me fired up, because then I'll start talking about how, corporate society is take these things like movies and games, and they remake them and regurgitate them just to keep making money and shelling things out to us, which, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But I mean, a lot of times it's just garbage. It's just to make money. And, I think that 007 was kind of a worst case scenario, where you got it on Switch with online play, but you have this whole issue with the controller mapping. And then you got it on Xbox, which was good, but it doesn't have online play. And it's like, if you guys are going to regurgitate something, at least give people what they want, because people didn't get what they want in this case at all. And I think that that's the bottom line. If you're going to regurgitate something and resell it to people, then, or hold it over their head, then for crying out loud, at least take the time to do it right and give them what they want.
I mean, even Absolutely. I'm going to go as far as saying, there's a brand new one, right? A brand new TV show, Magnum PI. The guy looks nothing like Magnum. He doesn't even have the hairy chest like Magnum. Doesn't even wear the Hawaiian shirts. He doesn't have any. It's not Magnum except they put the title Magnum PI.
I will say this: I hate 95% of the television and movie reboots that have been done since like 80s and 90s movies. Like the last good like series of rebooted films were like horror films rebooted in the 80s from like 50s horror films like The Blob and The Fly.
Yeah.
Like those are good movies. But what they're doing now, no. I think, and everybody will disagree with me on this, but one that I did like, and this is literally like, remember, 95% I hate. One of the ones that I did like was RoboCop.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
but with that being said, there is nothing that will ever, like, when they do these reboots, I'm not comparing it to the original because it's not the original. You know what I mean? And I think that was one of the reasons why I like that one too. Off note, just because it wasn't exactly like the original. There was a lot of things that they did a little bit differently.
Even my son, he was really big in Power Rangers when he was younger, and he liked the original ones that I grew up with. Like my brother and I, when we were growing up, the Power Rangers and the original Ninja Turtles, more than he liked the stuff that they remade when Nickelodeon took over. And so, I sit back and I go, okay, if this generation likes what we watched back then, why would you change it? Like, there's still money in it. Just remake the toys, bring all that stuff out, the posters, and you'll make plenty of money off of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they've done that. They've like, brought back, like, again, with the Ninja Turtles. I think, didn't they recently bring back the old figure? Like, they remade them, but they
did. But the one cartoon,
made
it's
like the old. No, I mean they brought back the figures from the 80s.
They did.
The way they look and whatever. So that was pretty cool.
They did.
Things
I'll,
like
I'll
that.
tell you, the minute I started hating reboots was when I saw Transformers Beast Wars. I got pissed. I was like, why would you do this to me when I grew up watching, Transformers with Optimus Prime and Soundwave and all these other characters that are so cool, and they have all these cool toys, and then they come out with Beast Wars. I'm like, really? Dinosaurs and crappy CGI animation? Screw you guys.
All right. Well, we're going to move on from that before we continue down this road of like anger and frustration. With all the reboots.
The rest of the show on this.
Yeah, we could. So let's talk a little bit about AtGames, shall we?
AtGames news and notes.
All right, so I know a lot of you guys out there have been waiting for National Owners Day, and National Owners Day is right around the corner, and we're going to give you a little sneak peek of some of the stuff that's happening here in February. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on it. There's a lot of deals going out there, and I know there's a lot of videos that are either out or going to be coming out that are going to go through in depth. But if you are interested and you're still on the fence of the AtGames Legends, maybe you have a 1.0 and you want to go to the newer one, the 1.2. I mean, I got a ridiculous deal at Sam's Club. I ended up getting it for $189 after the price match. I wasn't sure what I was going to think of it because, you know, the Gen 1 guys had the ability to HDMI output, but having a better processor, having more storage inside with it, all around, being able to put the 4-player control deck on it, which I'll have a video coming up shortly with that. The marquee, the LED, there's just a lot that you can do with this system that made it worth the upgrade price. Not for $700, but for the $198 or even some of the other discounts that you can get. And in the ALP. I'm still waiting for Jade to pick one of them up. But she just has to get more room. She keeps filling up all the room. But
it's hard to when, you know, you have like this
I know. You tell us you're not going to buy any more arcades, and then you go turn around and get more arcades.
Yeah.
So, Bill, did you get your pinball?
I have it. It's still sitting in the box.
Oh, that's a good place for it. Good place for it. I was just going to ask you how it was playing, but No,
it's still sitting in the box. I wish I could set it up.
I would suggest setting it up anyways, even if you had to put it back in the box, just to make sure it works. Because once your warranty's out, it's out.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that. Believe me.
Yeah. So the new version of the AtGames Legends doesn't do HDMI out. So unfortunately, you can't do any kind of capture. At this point, though, I don't care because I have the Core Max. So if I needed to do a video to show you guys how to do something, a tutorial or show a game, I would just hook up the Core Max to my laptop and then capture through a capture card.
But you know what you do have, Stephen? You have Chrome T molding. That's real T molding.
That's a good point. So the new one, Jade is 100% correct. The new one has real T molding on it, which I was floored with, and she was a little upset about because she has the 1.1. Yeah, I happened to stumble on an accident, and I messaged her. I was like, "Does yours have this?" She goes, "I think so." And then she found out that it didn't. But my old one, it just peeled all off. So if you have a 1.0, you may want to consider doing that. But I mean, I haven't had any problems with the 1.0. In fact, the kids are using it. They're loving it. And they play Marvel vs. Capcom on it. That's the #1 game that they play every week. They play Marvel vs. Capcom. So they're having a ball with it. And so if you're not into that or you don't care, they did change a lot of the innards where there's a lot more protection. The innards, the guts. We say guts, or people are going to get like weirded out?
No, I think you're good.
Okay. So
I'm gonna transform into Chanel West Coast for the future shows and just sit over here and just laugh every time you guys say something funny. I'm gonna repeat it and laugh.
Is that what you're gonna do to us from now on? No.
You know who Chanel West Coast is?
I have no clue. That was
no.
Oh my!
We're not as old as
guys.
you.
Come.
Oh boy! Shots fired.
Okay, Steven. That's it. Don't let the show end tonight.
Notice I said it. She's like 3,000 miles away. So, let me bring up Mike's comment here in the chat room. Here he says, the winning move with AtGames is just get the Core Max, a Gamer Pro with pedestal, and get the Buy Stuff's TNT stand. I used to have one of them. He's absolutely right. I mean, it's a great addition. If you don't have the room, if you want to just, they also have a stand where you can rotate it and do the pinball if you want to put your TV on it like that. The other cool thing is if you have a Gamer Pro or a Gamer Mini, the Gamer Pro has 8 buttons instead of 6, so you get the RT and LT. So if you're playing games from Steam and you have it connected to your PC, you can have those bumper buttons. So you can hook them up with Bluetooth, however you want to do it. But either way, with the big thing that I would tell you guys if you have a Legends or you have a pinball, Bill, is to buy the pinball tables that you want, because National Owners Day is the cheapest you're going to find for these games, and they usually do
National Owners Day.
That's what NOD stands for, National Owners
Yeah,
Day.
National Owners Day.
National Owners
Like
Day.
NOD.
As in NOD, like not NOS, or what is it? Nod. Don't nod off on me. It's nod. Here, I'll make it easy for you. Look. We'll pull it over here. No, stop.
Nod. No, okay. Here's the thing, though. Like every time I hear it, it always reminds me of NAD, and then I think of NADS, and I think of Beavis and
jeez.
Butthead.
Oh, here we go.
That's,
right there.
That's how
See?
my brain is wired.
Nod.
I can't help it.
Look, nod. I'm not going through it. I'm just showing. Nod.
He
like-
said nod.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do? So I think I've got Beavis and Butthead on the show here. Thanks, guys.
We're there for you.
So before we get into any of the other news that we actually have iiRcade news today. Can you believe it? Bill, can you believe it?
I can believe it.
Are they going out of business?
Oh.
No. In
Ba-dum-bum.
fact, check it out.
iiRcade. News and notes.
She is brutal tonight, folks. All right. Bill, talk to us a little bit about this. What's going on with the iiRcade?
They are finally releasing Ninja Baseball Batman. It is going to be available on the system tomorrow.
I thought this already came out.
No, they announced
it.
Last year when they announced a bunch of other games from IREM, but this one was the last one to come out. Now, what I'm not sure about this is what's going on with the online features yet. I think they announced that it would have online play, but what I don't know is whether or not it's going to be 4-player online play, because
is it going to be there at launch though?
That's what I'm not sure about just yet. We'll have to wait until tomorrow and see what they say. I was actually under the impression that one of the reasons this was waiting to come out is because they were bringing 4-player capability to the online play, and they were waiting for that to be ready for this to come out. I actually asked Michael about it in one of the game days, and he said not necessarily, that it had other things to do with just getting the game prepared. So we'll wait and see. I don't know if maybe a firmware is coming tomorrow as well to enable 4-player online.
So I have some reservations about this, which I'm sure some of the community members probably has some reservations about this, because they remember back when Arcade 1-Up released NBA Jam. And I think Keo Dyken and some of his friends were playing it, and we knew this was going to happen. And everybody, Jade, actually, this kind of was a little bit of what you had when you were playing with B, where you were in one part of the match and B was in another part, and you thought you won, and he actually won, and they had that with NBA Jam. It was all over the place. Nobody was actually playing. And so my worry is, if they haven't done 4-player and they haven't done extensive testing, are you going to have the same experience? I'm using Jong's word here. He's all about the experience. I love Jong to death. But the question is, you iiRcade fans out there, what do you know about this? Has it been tested? Because Jade,
well, that's a good point. It's an interesting question. I mean, I'm not going to be able to say, because I don't own an iiRcade anymore.
Slacker.
I tried out the iiRcade. I liked it for what it was. I don't think it's worth what it sells for. There's a neat library of games on there, but I don't know. I mean, is there anywhere else you can play this online?
Switch, probably. Natasha, before
No,
we answer that.
Yeah, go ahead, let her answer that one.
Okay.
Oh boy.
$4.99 super chat from console fanboy. iiRcade will go bankrupt in the next couple of months. I heard through many sources. Enjoy Ninja Baseball, homies.
All right, Bill, continue with your thought. You have to follow that up.
Yeah. All I know is if she keeps answering super chats like that, we're going to have about $1 million by the end of the show.
No, but I mean,
in all seriousness, this is a cool game for them to get, because it isn't readily available on a lot of places. Yeah, I know you can probably play it with, on your Legends with Um,
Oh, you have a coin
my
ops.
mind is blanking. Coin ops. Thank you. My mind just went blank for half a second there. That's what happens when you get a little older. But yeah, so it's not a game that's out there a lot for people, and it is interesting that it's one of the few that they have that is for a 4-player game. So it will be curious to see how that works out. Now, I will say I have not had a great experience with the alpha. Can never actually find somebody on to play to just turn it on and just play a game with somebody randomly. Never happens.
Yeah.
I know most of the people who play online, it's like they reach out to somebody and say, "Hey, let's play," and they hook it up.
But in all fairness, okay, I understand. You know what I was saying. I wanted on the iiRcade. They're making like with this baseball. You know, I like beat 'em ups. Those are like my favorite types of games to play when I'm like playing with my kids, or I don't know if I'd play it online, but at least playing with some friends and stuff like that. It looks promising, but like again, I can play it on other things.
I mean, it's a fun game.
It is it's a very fun.
It's
game.
a fun game to play. It's you know, I mean, I just don't.
No, I'm with you because there's so many other ways to play it. There's
sorry. It is no. I'm being serious. It is a fun game. Like I actually like the game. It's just I'm thinking about the iiRcade, and
you play with Natasha all the time, don't you?
You know, I think it's a good game. I hope that people who are using that as their main, you know, multi-platform system are going to enjoy it because it is a good game, and hopefully the online works.
Is it a banger?
It's crispy.
But is it AAA?
Yes.
Okay, you heard it. You heard it here first, folks. It's crispy. Okay.
It's crispal A.
Yeah, as long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. We're playing around here. Hollywood Polo, excuse me. Steven.
Hollywood fanboy?
Yeah, I was going to say Hollywood fan. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Steven,
boy.
I remember when Wizard of Walls was released on iiRcade a few weeks ago with only 2 players online versus 4-player on Steam. I felt Jong stabbed me in the heart. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that probably feel the same way. And
well, can I just
jump in, man?
Quick?
Yeah,
that has more to do with the developer than it does, I think, than it does iiRcade. That was their choice to do it that way.
It was a developer's
I mean, there are certain games. There are certain things because there are certain games that they get that are made by outside developers like Wizards of Walls, and then there are games. A lot of the retro games that they bring in, like IRM, I think they do a lot of work in-house on those. So, like, if a game, like somebody mentioned Riptide, and Riptide always having online players. Riptide's online is baked into that game. It has nothing to do with the online system that iiRcade has built. So there is a difference with that. Wizard of Walls is the same way. It's their own online support. It's not the iiRcade's online infrastructure.
Yeah, that's just weird though, because they're running a UI that you would think would have some sort of like plugin that would basically allow the developers just to use that. I mean, that would make more sense, like even from a monetary point of view. So, I mean, I don't know, but if it is the developers, I guess, I mean, can you blame them? Because they're creating off of their own set of parameters then, right?
I think in a way, yeah. But I mean, I agree with you that it would make more sense if they just had some kind of a plug-in to their system, but I don't think their online isn't even there yet. They said they're still, it's been, what, 6-8 months or so since they added it, and it's still in like a pre-alpha stage. They really haven't moved the ball forward on it.
I'm not trying to stand up for iiRcade or any of these companies, but talking about, I think we'd all agree on the panel here that making some of these games, especially these games that are older, whether they're remaking them or not, getting them to work online, to sync up, doing the servers is a tough task.
Oh, absolutely.
I think,
sure, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think where they get into trouble is these companies bite off a little bit more than they could chew because they overpromise and underdeliver. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have this on launch of the game, and then they realize, wow, this is a lot harder to develop for online
I'm gonna
play.
I'm gonna be really brutal right now and say what I think. I think that they don't want to pay the money to get smart people to make these kind of decisions for them, and to and even if they do have people saying you should do this, they're not listening to them because then they don't want to pay to support the smart decisions. I think that they're more concerned about getting money up front instead of what it's going to do for them in the long run. And unfortunately, when you employ your marketing tactics with that kind of thought process behind it, it will eat away at your profit margin in the long run. But that's just
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Hey, they've already sold you the cabinet. They've already sold tons of cabinets. They don't want to put more money into development, and I got to give kudos though to Arcade 1-Up and iiRcade, because they actually are trying now to make this happen. They realize, you guys have, not to take the cliche, but you guys have gotten loud, right? We've, those that want that online. So we'll have to see if they actually come to fruition and do this. I think that's going to be the thing.
Arcade 1-Up is definitely, it seems like they're making more of an effort to kind of correct the path that they are coming off of, and hopefully that stays consistent in the future. I think there's also like the realistic point of view of they screwed up kind of big, and so now everybody's going to be looking at them and ready to criticize them. And so there's always going to be something wrong at some level. They're never going to be perfect in anyone's eyes. It's either going to be, oh, it's cheap, oh, it doesn't work right, oh, there's bugs, blah, blah, blah. There's always going to be something that you'll be able to pick apart about them and any other company for that matter.
Of course.
But from what I'm seeing right now, it seems like they're, on a path, and they're trying to kind of correct the things that have happened and do better in the future. With iiRcade, it's a little bit different because it's a multi-system platform. Well, it's a single UI, but it's a multi-game platform. And I think that there's more challenges for developers when it comes to getting their games online. I feel like iiRcade, the company, isn't doing their part as much as they could be to get these games online, and that would come into developing a better UI with a singular online plugin that developers could use for these games that they're making. AtGames kind of has their thing going. They're set up and they have their online features, but you also have the option to use CoinOps X. And so, the multi-cade systems are a strange beast in the sense of it's just that one platform, whereas
Right.
Arcade 1-Up is going to specialize in a ton of different platforms with multiple options for controls. I mean, Star Wars is a great example, and also, why it's one of their best machines, because you get the yoke, you get the whole feeling of the arcade experience. Of course, it's not the arcade machine, but you definitely get that feeling, and it plays very well. So I don't know. That's my thought process on online and improvement.
No,
and stuff
I
like
would
that.
agree with that. And I want to stress to people, listen, we're calling it right down the middle. Like, I have an iiRcade. I know, Bill, you have an iiRcade. Jade, you had one. So we're talking from experience here.
Yeah. And I really like my iiRcade. It's I play that probably more than anything. I enjoy
But
a
you
lot of the
admit that
games
there
on
are problems with it, just
Oh,
like everything else.
absolutely.
We're not, that's all we're
Absolutely.
saying. We're
Yeah.
not saying it's perfect and the game selection is perfect. We're not saying at all. We're calling everything right down the middle.
Well, third floor, Jason from the third floor
Okay.
arcade makes a good point right there. An interesting point. Hold on.
I brought it up.
Okay, I don't know if it's gonna get cut off. Oh no,
You're
it's
good.
not. Okay, I don't think he says. I don't think there's enough people playing online on the iiRcade for them to invest a ton of money into it to make it better. And I think that there may be a certain amount of truth to that, but I also think, again, it's one of those things where if they would have put the time in on the front end of their UI development and all those aspects of it, knowing that it's a multi-game platform, and spent the extra money to make it work better and accommodate people with the online play elements, then I think that maybe they would have a little bit bigger of a customer base. But again, that I feel like that's one of those monetary things that could have kind of been addressed in the beginning and kind of set a precedence for that console or system.
Yeah, and I want to answer this question here that came in. Let me see here if I can scroll back, because there ain't no way I'm going to read it that small there. Do you think that OneUp is doing themselves any justice by putting cabs on sale for as low as $299 and then bringing the price back up to $699? And it all, like, I could say for retailers, when Walmart or Best Buy or some of these other companies doing it, it's not the company that's doing that. It is the retailer. So the retailer will buy it from the company at said price. Let's say a $699 cabinet, they're buying them, say, for $200. Let's just, I don't know what it is. Nobody really knows. But let's say it's $200. They've already bought and paid for it. Arcade OneUp has gotten their money. And if that stock doesn't move, let's say they bought 400 units. Well, if they need to sell them in 90 days and there's 40 units left, they're going to drop that price just to get rid of the stock, because obviously it's taking up floor space, it's taking up room. So Arcade OneUp themselves do a similar thing, where if they have extra stock, like when they did with the Red Cross event, they sell them to you guys cheap so they can get them out of the warehouse. They can get them to where they can make room for new stock. This stuff costs money if it's just sitting around.
You're always going to get the best price from a retailer, though.
Yes,
100%. Like, if you go direct through Arcade OneUp, you're only going to have 30 days to return it if you don't like it, and it's going to be a much more difficult, painful process. Like, whereas if you go through Walmart, you're going to be able to return it to them directly, like take it back to their store if you don't like it or if you have issues with it. And I mean, that's a great way to go, especially when you're investing $500-$600. But then again, on the sales side of it, Walmart does have like these crazy retailer sales. Well, they'll cut prices down into like thirds, and you won't get that direct from Arcade OneUp.
So I just want to answer a comment really quick, and then we have a super chat from Zohar that we need Natasha. So Natasha, get ready, get your pipes ready. Your average gamer, I'm not going to pull it up right yet because I have the super chat pulled up, but he goes, "Do you think the Cowboys will win another Super Bowl in your life in the lifetime?" If I do recall, you guys just got spanked just as bad, if not worse, than what we did. Okay, and for the Niner fans, we almost beat the Niners. We beat Philadelphia. We could have easily been the ones going to Super Bowl, but we didn't. We had a bad game. It is. I'm not going to make excuses. But the Cowboys will probably make the Super Bowl before the Giants do because, well, they're the Giants. So before everybody starts freaking out, your average gamer and I, we got this little thing. We go back and forth. It's all good. There's no harm in that. But Natasha, go ahead.
Oh wait, is that the whole thing? It gets like kind of.
It gets cut off because of.
Okay, wait, I got it. Hold on. Where's she at? $9.99 super chat from Console Fanboy. I just want to say, if MK4 doesn't happen, that means this whole hashtag get loud is complete BS, because no one will ever, 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 ever be louder than Ed Boon tweeting hashtag free MK4 3 times in a row. OneUp hates MK.
That's pretty good. Oh, now he requested that you read it normally. All right, so the next one you'll have to read it normally. Buy Stuff Store put a good tweet. Again, I don't know this. I don't know what the markup is, so I want to stress I didn't know. But they said $200 cost, no way. Margin for retailers and electronics like A1 Up is 10% or less. So there you go. But again, it's all about stock and getting rid of it. So I'm not in retail, so if Buy Stuff Store, they make a lot of great gear. So they would be able to. They work with AtGames, and I believe they have Arcade 1-Up stuff as well. I watch a lot of their content for AtGames stuff, so they would be in the know. So that's basically how all that works. Let me see here. Jamie says here, as a distributor. Jamie says, as a distributor, I could tell you our costs of, say, Gen 1 Legacy is over what did he say, $300? Yeah, $300.
Yeah, $300.
So, yeah, I don't know what these big box stores like Walmart and them are getting them. I would assume, and Buy Stuff Store, correct me if I'm wrong, because Walmart is such a monopoly, they probably get it cheaper than anybody, right? Even if it's by a little bit, they probably get it a little bit cheaper than what, like, say, Best Buy, maybe even Best Buy gets a more, but like a small mom and pop shop that sometimes you can get. What's that, Willie's or what is it?
RC Wiley.
RC Wiley, yeah.
Wiley.
Like isn't that like a mom and pop shop? I never ordered from them, but isn't it like a mom and pop type store?
What is it, like a hardware store? Like,
but it is. It's like I think it's like a hardware store.
I've never bought anything from it, but I know some of these guys.
Have one here. We don't have one anywhere near here on the East Coast, so I have no clue. But I mean, I gotta think a lot of this also comes down to, just buying in bulk. You look at like a Walmart or a Best Buy, and they're gonna buy like hundreds, if not thousands, of them compared to some of these other places that are gonna buy, a handful of them. And when you buy more, you're gonna get a better deal. It's as simple as that.
So here's a really good comment, for you iiRcade fans. From Richadello, he says, let me pull this up here. He says, the reasons my son gravitates toward the iiRcade, he's special needs, and the accessibility features is key. My perspective on iiRcade is different than most. And 100%, listen, we're not telling you to throw the baby out with the bathwater for any of you guys. If you like the iiRcade, I love Beach Buggy Racing, and I know how much Jade loves that game. And she loves part 2 and all that. So, I mean, she was mad. I was mad when she got rid of it because we couldn't play each other online.
It was terrible.
But I really like those types of games, and that's not for everybody, and I totally get that. But I think, again, when we're comparing prices, you look at the AtGames Legends and what you can do with that machine. For the price that you're paying for an iiRcade, I would expect you to be able to do more. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am. And that's okay. But everybody has their favorites. There's guys that will not put any money into AtGames, and that's fine too. You got to play with what you like. We're just trying to call it, like, as much as we can, right down the middle.
I mean, I'm just looking at it from kind of like a gaming and a business perspective, I mean, Bo made a good point earlier in the chat. He said if they sold their base unit at $299, it would probably help boost their obviously like their online store sales, but also their customer base. And I think that's part of the problem is when people look at it, I mean, it looks, especially the base model, it looks weird. So it kind of looks unfamiliar anyways. But when you see the price tag on it, like, $499, $599, you're like, why do I really want to pay that much for that though? And I'm talking about from like an outside perspective. I'm saying like somebody outside looking in, especially somebody who's not very familiar with games or arcades. I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. But I think that, if they lowered the price to like $299 with free shipping, then they might have a chance at, kind of boosting their consumer base. But that's part of the problem is they're going to have a limited consumer base. And then, you throw all the other things on top, like them just starting to get around, deving with online features and stuff like that, then that just throws a whole nother
Yeah.
wrench in it. So
Hey MG, I think I gave you the wrong username. Try TTB Gaming for Xbox. I don't care. Anybody else can add me too. It's not a big deal, but I just want to throw that in there. But I think like you bring up an interesting point, because Arcade One Up charges a lot for their shipping. AtGames especially charges a lot for their shipping. Like they had the Killer
Wait,
Instinct for
Arcade One Up charges for shipping.
yeah, they for the
Mhm.
$2.99 that they had, or $3.99 for the Killer Instinct, you end up paying almost $600 till it's all said and done with taxes and shipping to get that. So you're essentially paying what it was originally costing.
Oh well, then buy
Yeah,
buy
they
through
only do
Walmart.
they only do free shipping if it's $5.99 and up.
$5.99.
So as
Yep.
soon as they do like a $50 deal on one of these and make it $5.50, well, now you're screwed because you're paying for shipping.
So that's
Mm.
to be fair though. I mean, you say about iiRcade, and I'm not saying you're trying to single them out, but all these companies charge ridiculous amounts, and I get it. They have to pay for it too. So it's something.
Yeah,
it's something
but
to
I
have to
mean,
give.
I mean, look, you have Arcade One Up that is okay. It's free if it's $5.90. Wait, is it $5.99? You said
$5.99.
so
$5.99.
$5.99 or over, and then it's free. But
Mhm.
then you have AtGames, which charges you no matter what, and you have iiRcade, which charges you no matter what. And then the other thing is too is that
Actually, I thought the shipping
AtGames
was free on iiRcade, or was that only for certain?
I think that was
deals?
for. I think that was for the backers and even the early birds that got the gold series. You could. I got free shipping from Sam.
Well,
when I got mine.
there's no retail options for those.
No.
I mean, okay,
True.
look, AtGames, yes, you have like Sam's or whatever, but there's no real retail options. Like you don't have Best Buy, you don't have Walmart, and if you do try to buy an AtGames off of Walmart, it's like $1,000. So it's like, why would I even
Oh,
do
Biggie
that?
Biggie does say they have free shipping. iiRcade does, but he also says this. Read this comment because you have often brought this up. The one I have pulled up.
Yeah, Walmart has a 90-day return policy. It's one of the best places to get those cabinets from.
So, Best
but
Buy now has iiRcades. Interesting.
but I no, I thought they don't have iiRcade anymore, do they?
Biggie's saying that. My Best Buy
What
doesn't.
the
No.
Best Buy?
Even online, I can't. It doesn't
yeah, but
have
not
it.
the gold. But not the golds.
No.
They've had like the Retromania Wrestling, the original.
I thought they got rid of all
on
that. I'm looking right
I don't
now.
know if they still have. I don't know if they still do, but they have.
Because
had
last
it in
time
the
I
past.
looked, they were.
Yeah, it's been a while
nothing.
since they've had it on there.
Oh nope, he's right. They do have the Retromania for $5.99.98
But that's till
Um,
stock is
with-
gone with it.
with free
Yeah.
shipping.
But that's Best Buy offering free shipping, not iiRcade. We're talking
Right.
about.
But the other thing is that's what I'm saying.
We're
like,
talking about the companies. We're not talking about
Yes.
retailers.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like those other consoles aren't available easily through retailers. Like if you have,
Correct.
so for example, on Best Buy, which they haven't had any iiRcade stock for a long time, but all you have to choose from is the Retromania. Like that, you don't have very much selection as far as like your cabs look or what it's going to come with and stuff like that. So this is like one retailer, and that gives you free shipping.
Yeah.
But if you're buying through the companies, shipping is really expensive. I mean, at least with Arcade One Up, you do have over $5.99. But I still think it's really bizarre that at the level that they're at now, especially with all the retailers that they do business with, that they can't cut a deal to have free shipping for all their stuff.
That's what I would have thought. But I mean, again,
Yeah.
we don't know what the margins are. We don't know what they might be offsetting the cost of bringing it over on a boat. I mean, who knows? I mean,
Sure.
I know
Yeah.
the shipping container price has gone up tremendously for these guys bringing it over. So I guess maybe that's something you guys should ask on the One Up show, or what's the one that's going to be tomorrow with Travis? That
The one up.
the One Update
One
show.
update. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to get confusing. But ask them about shipping on, because that would be an interesting answer. I know we're going to have Travis on coming up in the near future, so maybe that's something we'll ask him that he can take back to Arcade One Up and find that out. But you guys ready to move on? Let's talk a little bit about what's going on with E3. I know everybody's been excited about E3. Bill, what's happening with E3? What's the big hubbub?
Well, the big news is that the big three Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony aren't going to do it this year. As a matter of fact, at this point, I would say they're probably done with E3 altogether. I don't think you will see them come back at all. And why should they, when they have the resources to do their own shows right around the same time? Why do they need to pay for space at E3 or anything like that when they could just do an online presentation, get all their news out, and be done with it?
I would kind of agree with that, but they haven't been there for quite some time, and everybody, expected that they would be back. But honestly, I think E3 is turned into a indie developers conference, if I had to guess. And MG says no one is going, and I would agree with that. Yeah. I have zero interest in going to E3.
Yeah, now I have zero interest.
Well, I had opportunities in the past.
You may still see some of the the third parties there. You may see an
E3 used to be so cool. Yep. I mean, you would go there and everybody was cosplayed out. There was good-looking guys and girls everywhere. Their booths were just
so that's
full
why
of
Jade
cool
went.
Stuff.
See?
Their booths were just full of stuff, and you could play games before they were released or play games in beta. I mean, the last time that I went to a good E3 was like in the early 2000s. And it was good back then, like, and it was huge. I mean, huge. And Sony would do like shows, Nintendo would do shows to present things, and that was what it was all about. And like, marketing and stuff, and getting out there with the gamers and letting them see these things that are, up and coming, and all these different products. And so it's really disappointing to see that three of the biggest companies that have since driven E3 are not even going to be a part of it now. And I started thinking, like, why is that? Why are they backing out of it? Microsoft is laying off all these people right now. I'm like, are they really trying to cut costs that hard? But it's just, is that where we're going?
No,
like, we're not going to be doing like cool in-person stuff like that anymore.
We talked a little bit about this, if you remember, last week, where I said I think a lot of these companies, especially the gaming companies, they were so far behind during the pandemic that they hired all these people, and then they realized we don't really need all these people on a day-to-day operations, because we needed them to catch up. Now that they're caught up, unfortunately, it turns out to be 10, 15, even 20% of their workforce, and they're getting laid off. That's what I really think is happening. It's not that the economy is because if you look at the economy
I'm not thinking of it.
On the plus
them, side. I'm not thinking of it. Yeah, for them, I'm not thinking of it as an economic thing.
But with technology, do you really need to be there? Like, for journalists, they can get the word out faster. Like what we're doing right now, just go live.
Sure, but going somewhere
without the cost.
To an event,
I get it.
To an event where there's people that you can talk face to face with, and you can put your hands on hardware and try out software on hardware.
You can't shoot a lot of video inside of E3. They're very meticulous when you go in there. When I had to go with my company, you have to ask permission almost every booth to take pictures, even if you're press.
Really?
Yes. You can't just go in there.
I mean,
I guess that makes sense.
Oh no, I get it. But then there's a lot of journalists out there that are covering this space, and I'm not talking about like us in the home arcade market or any of that cover video games, but like IGN and some big names like that. I agree with you. Those types of people need to be there because they need to get that information, right? They need to be there to get to be able to write the articles. But I also think that having that online experience where you're saving the money of flying, you're saving the money of being somewhere, I think that's why the companies look at it and go, this is a win all the way around. But from your point of view, I agree. Like, we're so involved online, even like with now, some of us don't even leave our house. Some of us, the only interaction we get is online. Like, most of my friends, I'm sad to say this, most of my friends are online. Like, I have never met most of my friends in person. They're all online. I have a handful of friends here locally that I hang out with. My circle is small, But Jade,
Right,
I
right.
kind of agree with you. I see it from both sides of the coin here.
Yeah.
But you know what? Didn't you ever have like an AOL friend that you like went and met in person or something?
No, I can't say I had. Because I was always, when I was
What, in
growing
the
up,
back of his van?
in a white van.
Oh,
In a white van. No, I never ventured out and did that. So I met a bunch of people online that I had been friends with in the broadcast community. I met them up at like NAV in Las Vegas. I met up in Pittsburgh, different people that I've known for years. So it was really cool to meet up because you just pick up where you left off. So I don't know. I think there is something about being there in person, but you're talking to a guy that's worked remotely for almost 16 years now.
well, I agree with you. I have a lot of I have a small circle of people who I'm friends with, like online friends, as we call them.
Oh,
But I still have, my friends out here and family and stuff like that I still hang out with and do stuff with. But like, it's an excuse to like even meet up with people, to go to events like that and stuff. So I just think it's a little bit disheartening. But then again, like I feel like that's kind of where the next generation of things is going. But oh man, there's something missing from it.
Should I be scared of this comment? This guy, MG's awesome. He gives me crap all the time. He's about the only guy I tolerate it from too. He goes, "Oh, we'll meet one day, buddy." Like,
Yeah. When you least expect it.
He's gonna come rolling up with a white van. The windows are all darkened up. He's gonna be like, "I have a ton of candy here."
I have arcade games in the back of my van. Don't play.
This is getting dark.
This is he's a trip. But no, seriously, like I get it from both sides. I understand. Like, I'm super excited. I'm going to an outdoors convention. It's kind of like the video game conventions for us, but it's it's for hunting and fishing and camping and boating, all the stuff, because spring's coming, and I like to go to these shows to get, just like you go to a gaming convention to get cheap stuff. I go to these conventions, so I took the day off tomorrow. But what's cool about it, I'm bringing this up, is I have an outdoor brand, as well as like my gaming brand, but I get to interact with real people. What are you laughing about? You don't.
Jason's comment. It's way cheaper to show off casino-cades in a hotel.
Ooh, shots! Wait. Garage Gamer. Wait. Garage Gamer. Shots fired. Shots fired.
I talk so much smack on the hotel room. I was like, "Oh, you're not going there, huh?" And then they open up that big suite with the casino-cades in there, and I was just like, "I told you, I knew it."
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, that was funny. Thank you for that.
These guys, they're all these guys are all like they're on par tonight.
That's what Sony and Microsoft and PlayStation should do. Just put their stuff in a suite in a hotel room, and you just go from suite.
Yeah,
to suite.
other companies do it.
Yeah,
Listen,
sure.
I'm going to do this just for MG, because I know he likes to stalk me. So I want to make sure that he has a way to stalk me and knows like where I'm going to be at all times. So my other brand, MG, you can come stalk me over here, NoBoundariesOutdoors.com, where there's a ton of videos. There's even podcasts, like video casts like we're doing now for the outdoors, if you're into that, and reviews and all that stuff. See, this is a side of me that you guys never knew existed. I do a lot of in the outdoor space as well as this space. Imagine that, a guy that games also is doing stuff in the outdoors. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing tomorrow. But I'm going to be interacting.
I'm amazed that a guy that games actually steps outdoors.
Oh, I have to listen. Jade was just talking about how nuts today was. I was saying that's my unplugging from all this stuff. I go sit in a tree stand, or I go sit on even if I'm not catching fish, sitting on my pontoon boat in the warm summer air with the sun going down, with some country music in the background. It don't get any better than that, man. Quiet. You just hear the birds chirping, the wind blowing. Look she's relaxing already. Look. She's like, I'm getting on a plane. I'll be over. When are you taking it? Yeah, I'm serious. Like you need that. You guys, especially after the last couple weeks here in this gaming space. Let's just say that.
Oh, I agree.
You need to
I
get
agree.
out and unplug, whether it's just going for a walk somewhere in the mall or just, you got to get out. So Jade, to your point about these conventions, I agree, because staying in this little bubble can make you crazy. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already crazy. Maybe it'll just make me crazier. I don't know.
Well, hey, she said it, not us. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, you're winning it. Hey, there's one more bit of news here with the Nintendo Direct. Bill, why don't you kind of elaborate on some of this, because I don't know what's going on with it, because it seems like every month we hear, hey, there's something new. We got a leak on the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, and again, this is another one. I mean, I don't know how accurate it's going to be. The only interesting thing is, and I actually, big shout out to RGT85. I know he put a video out about this recently too, and he was saying this came about on a Reddit channel. I think it's Gaming Leaks and Rumors, or Gaming Rumors and Leaks. It's in there somewhere, but supposedly it's a channel that's very notorious for like kicking people out if their stuff isn't accurate. Like, you make a bunch of unsubstantiated claims and you're gone. You're not in that space anymore.
I thought that makes you a YouTuber.
So yeah, well, but that still doesn't mean that this is necessarily accurate. So look,
again, I thought that makes you a YouTuber.
Yeah. Supposedly it's coming up right around the corner. It's supposed to be next Tuesday, February 7th. So I would think, if this is real, we're probably not even going to get an announcement from them until Monday, if this is even actually happening.
Yeah, because I heard some rumors too where people are like, oh, the new Zelda game is the last major title that's coming to the Switch, and I'm like,
yeah,
you people are dreaming if you think that's going to happen. Nintendo has a cash cow, at least for the next couple of years. They're not going to stop making games for it.
Especially if they don't plan on releasing a follow-up for it.
Nintendo came out and said we plan on making more games even after Zelda, because they got wind of this rumor. I don't know where these people are getting this information.
Nintendo also denies a lot of things, though, and
it's in their best interest, though, to keep. I mean, the Switch is like the perfect console. What are they going to do? Like, their range of people are like our kids. That's their user base, and like people that are on the go, that want like family fun friendly games. That's Nintendo all the way. If you want a hardcore game, Battlefield, Call of Duty, and some of these other games, you're buying an Xbox or a PlayStation. Period.
Yeah.
You're not buying a Switch. Even if Nintendo had it on a Switch, you ain't buying it on a Switch.
No, because it's not going to play as good.
No. Or you're going to get a PC.
It's not going to look as good. It's not going to play as good.
Correct.
Because Nintendo doesn't care about that stuff. They don't have to be
They're more family friendly and oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's nothing wrong with that.
Most of their success comes from their own, their
egos.
own games developed for their platform.
Correct.
Yeah, and that.
Yeah, Mario, Zelda,
so
Metroid, all that stuff.
There's been rumors of a Mario Odyssey Part 2 that's coming, and some other games, and more releases of Kirby games and Metroid. I say we probably got another 2 to 3 years of Nintendo Switch. I'd be really surprised. I really would. I'd be really surprised if they pulled the plug, especially this soon after releasing the OLED model.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it, because they cannot keep these things on the shelves. People are buying them. They're selling out. And I know it's not like that all over the country, but these things are still selling like hotcakes. They're not reducing the prices. It's the same price today as it was when it released. That says a lot about a console.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's the way I feel about it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the pandemic screwed a lot of this up. I think it screwed up the timeline for future consoles. That I think we're gonna see it as if this year was actually release year for those consoles, even if they've been out for 2 years or 3 years, right? I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that they're closing the door on it. So
no.
Let me see here. I actually have a piece of news. P-Dubs actually gave this to me before we went live.
You see what's going on over here, don't you?
What's that? I didn't see what was going on in the chat because I was trying to pull this up.
Jade.
Oh, yeah. Look at this. She's sneaking it. We'll get to that here.
She's
Hang
letting
on.
the kitty
I
cat
was
out of the
just-
bag.
I was just getting a sneak preview.
I think she'll be happy. I think she'll be happy with this as well. This little bit of news here from Pinball FX. If you guys take a look, they are going to be bringing some new stuff. Let me see if I can pull this up so I can actually read it. I don't know. Can one of you guys able to read that? I don't know. I'm going to zoom in on it because I just can't.
I can read it.
Let me position this better.
Pinball FX arrives on PlayStation, Xbox, and leaves early access on the Epic Games Store on February 16th. Dive into more than 80 tables with many brand new ones like the Addams Family or Borderlands Volt Hunter Pinball. Are you ready?
So any of you guys that are, modded in AtGames Legends Pinball, and you have a PC hooked to it, you're going to be all set. But this is going to be leaving. You need to go download it. Get all your crap. Get it together. Do it. Do it now.
Now is the
right
time.
now. I think PlayStation's doing the same thing with some of their games. They're getting rid of out of the classics. I got an email about it. I think anybody that has PlayStation Plus got an email about it. So make sure you do that, or you're going to be sorry. All right, Jade. We saved the best for last because we knew you guys would enjoy this. So she hinted at a machine, and then she just kind of gave it away just a few minutes. She's such a party pooper.
Well,
We could have
shout
did
out
the
to New
Ric
Wave
Flair
Toys.
music.
They were very, very gracious to send me a review unit of their new Replicade Dragon's Lair.
And wait a second. I just want to
which is
say, she's on the West Coast. My review unit is still in transit and won't be here till Thursday. So, New Wave Toys. I said I told her that I told you guys this. So I'm going to say it now. Stop sending these West Coasters these products first. It's not right. Bill and I are over here twiddling our thumbs, and this one's over here like, look, guys,
Well,
look
see,
what I got.
I think they know that I'll get the review video out for it. So
Without even
where's your stack?
without
Steven?
even
Where's your stack?
without even playing.
Show
Yep,
everybody
sounds
your
like
stack.
a traditional YouTuber.
Show everybody your stack.
My stack. I
Okay, I'm just kidding. But anyways, thanks to them. I was actually really excited about this
It looks
because I was literally like I was going to order one because they're only doing a limited run of them, and they're really cool. And I'm like a fan of Dragon's Lair, but I didn't want to do when I knew they were coming out with another generation of these. I wanted to wait, and so this is the it's called the Overhaul Edition, and it's really cool. I don't want to say too much about it because I'm going to do a video on it and everything, but I just wanted to kind of share it with everybody so that they could just kind of see how it looks.
see if I had it, I would actually show you it. I would power it on, but no, she's not even going to turn it on.
Yeah, because I don't want to do too much. But one thing I will say that right off the bat is really cool, and I'll show you guys on the back here.
Is there an
they do
HDMI
have
on
a USB? Yeah, it's got HDMI. It's got USB-C, which is awesome because I think I
nice.
mentioned that in my missile command. Yeah, so I thought it was really cool. The back looks really good. Just as far as like the organization of everything. And hold on, let me see.
What does Natasha
go.
think of it? You're getting a comment in the chat room here. I'm going to pull it up from Mitchell R.
Natasha likes very much. I think it's very sexy. It makes me want to breathe fire. So anyways, I'm really excited to actually be able to like make a full on video and get all the details out to everyone who's interested in these type of little cabs. They're so cute. And
did it come with
this?
Did it come with that, or did you buy that separate?
This thing is like heavy too.
But did it
It's
come?
almost as
Did it
heavy
come?
as an arcade
Did it
one.
come with it?
It came in my box.
Well, that's what I was asking.
That's
If it came
interesting.
in the special edition box.
No, No, it didn't come in the Dragon's Lair box. It came in a little box
in your
my
review box. I got you. I got
right.
you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you line their pockets a little bit. I see how it is.
I mean, I think it had something to do with Natasha.
Mm.
You sent one of those autographed pictures of Natasha, didn't you? Mm-hmm. I figured as
Yeah,
much.
there's a little bit of that 80s swank.
I'll tell you what. Hey, if you didn't see her video that's coming up, we got a sneak peek of Jayde's next video. If you're 80s, it looks you get that whole 80s girl vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what she sent to
episode
him.
2.
Good.
Episode 2.
Yep.
Well, wait, she was sitting on that stool earlier. Aren't you sitting on it right now? Didn't you put it back under, right?
No, I switched chairs when I walked away.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I know you were sitting on it. Bill and I were kind of like, holy smokes. Quality of that first impression of the stool, because a lot of these guys like to put action figures with their arcades, like the G.I. Joe style.
Yeah,
really,
what's your thoughts?
Oh, really, really nice is how, I mean,
Is it metal?
It's actually, it's metal. It feels heavy, like it's like leather up here. It's really nice.
It's probably more comfortable than an arcade 1-up stool.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, this thing's almost as heavy as an arcade 1-up stool. Like the build quality is just top notch. So it's really, really neat.
Garage Gamer. Shots fired. Shots fired.
So yeah, I mean that's the other thing, because we didn't cover that. So if people didn't know, Replicate, they are going to be selling those little stools. They got like I think there's 6 different ones.
Mm-hmm.
That they're selling. They're $20 a piece. So for those of you who like to collect these things and build like a little arcade scene with action figures and stuff like that, now you have a stool that you can get to sit them on if you want.
They don't
like,
want to do that.
When I was surprised to get this, and I was like, it's going to be really cool to do with I'll say action figures, but I've got some good pictures in mind, so it's going to be cool.
Yeah, I have some WWE wrestlers I thought about. If one happens to show up in my box, I was going to kind of do that and have them stand next to it at the at the arcade, or maybe pick up one of those and bash one of the guys over the head with it next to the arcade or something like that. Like, have Triple H like throwing it at Kane or something. I don't know. But yeah, you can get them $20. It's not too bad. Even if they don't send me one, I might pick one up. I think there's a Cubert one over here.
Yeah.
And some of the other ones are just very generic, which is fine.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Well, this one says.
Oh wait! Stop! We got a very interesting question from G.I. Joel. This is for you. Do they have the yoga mat?
The yoga mat.
The yoga mat.
The anti-fatigue mat.
Ooh.
That's a good question.
That was the other question from Paul. Paul has you covered.
Anti-fatigue mat.
I'm not seeing it.
Could you imagine me doing like an aerobics video with a New Wave Toys anti-fatigue mat? I would have to like shrink myself.
So when we have Shiloh on the show in the future, we're gonna have to mention that to him. He needs a miniature anti-fatigue mat.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Right? What do you think?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's a must.
Juan's telling me, sorry, Steven, you need a voice like Natasha. Well, there's only one Natasha, and it's not me, thank God. If it was me, we'd really be in trouble. The show would go downhill even worse than it's gone already. Endless 1-ups in the chat room, and I'm still waiting for our weekly segment that he's been slacking on. What's on deck? Do you hate us? Do you? Here, wait. Do you not like us anymore? Are we not your friends? I wish I had some sad sympathy music, but I don't. Anyways, I think that's all the news that we have for this week. I don't think we have anything else. Do you guys have anything else that popped up? Because it was really a slow week, honestly. I don't really know of any. I think we pretty much covered.
No, we covered it all.
Everything.
Covered it all.
And like I said, we'll keep you guys posted if we see any spectacular deals from some of these sales that are going on with AtGames. But yeah.
I just wanted to take a minute. I want to follow up on something from last week's show real quick. So Natasha has her Dragon's Lair, and I got my Build-A-Cade all set up, and I'm actually working on a series of videos for this. I did an unboxing and a build and how to add games to it and all that kind of stuff. Now, in the process of doing this, as a lot of you know, the guts of this is a Raspberry Pi. You need to have a Raspberry Pi for it. Well, I found another SBC online that I thought might make an interesting replacement, and it's this. This is what is it? AML S905XCC. It's also affectionately known as Lit Potato.
Lit Potato.
Lay Potato. It's another SBC.
How much is it?
$35 on Amazon.
Okay. Does it work?
Now, here's the downside, and why I wanted to bring this up is because if people are looking for replacement Raspberry Pis, whether it's for a Build-A-Cade or whether it's for other projects, and they see this one, I want to let people know a couple of things about this. First off, it's a nice board. It's got a decent processor, 2 gig of RAM, and it was cheap at $35. The downsides to it are there's no on board Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. That's the first thing. Now you can get around that, like the Build-A-Cade needs Wi-Fi. You could get around that with a low-profile dongle, Wi-Fi dongle on it. So
he said dongle.
I did say dongle. So that's not the big problem. The big problem with this in the Build-A-Cade is that it doesn't have a DSI connector on it. That's display serial interface. It's a ribbon basically used to connect like an LCD screen. Normally for Pi projects, it's like a touch screen. On the Build-A-Cade, it's the LCD screen it comes with. You need a DSI connector to connect to the screen in order for this to work. And this does not have that. So unfortunately, it's not a good substitute to use in the Pi, which is a shame because it's cheap and it's readily available. I'm going to hold on to it. I'm going to use it for another project. But, I had mentioned it last week and I got a couple of comments people were asking, so I wanted to let people know. And I'll probably post something to like, I know Glenn's got a Facebook group for his Build-A-Cade.
Well, Bill, we can ask him right now. Glenn, can we do this with your Build-A-Cade? Glenn? Glenn?
That's not looking hopeful.
Well, he's still in his basement trying to figure it out. Well, sorry. I thought maybe I could get you an answer, Bill. Maybe we can. Maybe you can tune into his old guy's show and ask him.
No, I had actually chatted back and forth with him on this, and he wasn't sure how it was going to work. Like I said, I didn't even get to the point of maybe throwing it in to see if the software goes with it. Once I hit that hardware stumble, I was like, okay, there's not even a point in trying to put it in there and see if it would work. So, unfortunately, you're really kind of stuck with a Pi for his machine until unless he reworks something to make it available for another.
Until he stops being a slacker and he gets himself untied and he can actually make it happen. Is that what you're trying to say? Is that just say it?
That is not what I'm saying.
That's exactly what you're saying.
You're not going to put those words in my mouth.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm glad you updated us. I'm glad you remembered that because you asked me earlier about that and I totally spaced. So that's why I threw it over and said, is there anything else that we're forgetting? Because it's a lot to remember.
I think we got one last super chat before we.
Yeah. Well, so why don't you go ahead and read it there, Mr. Bill, since you're on top of that.
All right. And I'm not Natasha, so I'm going to read it in a normal voice.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Console Fanboy, but thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Overthink Gaming is about to drop a masterpiece, and I'm so much in shock at how good it is. It will be on my community page. OTG is a real superhero.
Yeah, I like
OTG.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like watching a lot of his stuff. At least he's impartial. He calls it right down the middle. I'm gravitating more and more toward content creators like that. That's why I stopped watching Jayde last week. I got kind of tired of the one-sided bias all the time. I hate iiRcade. I like iiRcade. I hate iiRcade. I like iiRcade. You can only take so much of that. No, I'm just kidding. Jade, what's on deck this week? And not to take away from Endless One Up, but what do you got coming for us video form? Because I know you've been shooting a lot today.
Yeah. So most likely Wednesday of next week is the planned release for episode 2 of Arcade Legends. It's 90% going to be released on Wednesday, but there's a 10% chance that some things might come up and I might have to push it to the following week. But at the very latest, it will be that following week. So there's that on Wednesday. And then I'm also going to have the review video for Dragon's Lair, the Replicade. That should be out Tuesday or Thursday. Yeah, probably
Awesome.
Tuesday, actually. And then aside from that, there's nothing crazy coming up. There might be a interview video coming up sometime in the near future for my pre-recorded podcast, Lioness in the Wild. So we'll see.
Awesome. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Bill, what do you got coming up? Anything?
Well, yeah, like I said before, I've been working on a couple of videos for the Build-A-Cade. I will probably be one of these crazy YouTubers putting something up after the one update tomorrow.
Oh.
I'm not gonna speculate. I'm gonna wait for it to happen and then
Okay. As long as you give
and
your
then talk about
response,
it.
that's fine.
and then give a response to it. But there's a couple of news pieces that I wanted to put up, just some news on for tomorrow. So that will probably be out, and then, like I said, the Build-A-Cade stuff will be hopefully next week. I've been doing a lot of shooting on it. Now it's editing. I mean, the build took me anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours to do, mostly because it was stop, start, talking, filming, talking while I'm doing it. It took me longer than it probably should have for a normal person to just build it. So now I got to edit that down and make it something that people will actually want to watch and not 2 hours of me rambling.
Awesome. Well, unlike these guys, I'm not a violent person, so I haven't been shooting all week. I've been shooting other things, just not with my camera.
It's a good thing you're not violent, though.
I'm not violent. I harness my... No, really appreciate everybody coming out. You guys can check out... I'll have some videos up when my Dragon's Lair comes. I have a video in the works right now, the quad play. If you're interested in the quad play, want to know my thoughts on it, I've got the trackball in it, and I'll give you my thoughts on a review for that. I'm also going to have a review coming up for the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller, the Edge, the $200 controller. You guys saw my unboxing. My son and I are going to give you our thoughts on it after playing with it for a week. We're going to put a video together of that. But I also want to give a special shout out to one of our moderators, Adam Kalb, in the chat room. Listen, this guy, he's like, I have a back channel with him on my chat here on my phone. And this guy is keeping me on target because he knows I'm producing and doing all this other stuff. He's letting me know, like, hey, this person's super chatted, or hey, this person is asking you a question, just so it gets my attention. He's got a direct line to me. So you guys, there's a lot of people in the back that don't get a lot of credit for helping us here. So really appreciate Adam Kalb in the chat room. I know he mods for a lot of people, and it's a very thankless job because he's got a dirty job. But I can speak for me, and I don't know if the panel you want to chime in or anything, but I really appreciate him and what he does here in the room for the show. I really appreciate
Adam's
that.
great, very, very supportive, and it's nice to have someone who will shoot it straight to us too.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Yep.
There's just one thing, Adam. We got to talk about that. That money situation. I hope I covered everything. But we have a problem. You haven't banned Jade yet. We're gonna have to talk. Anyways, guys, we'll see you next week. Have a great week. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Great show again, as always. That's why it's the most loved show. Why are you guys still here? The show's over. Go home. We'll be back next week. Like, seriously, go. If you want to hang out, fine, but I'm going to bed. Have a good night.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.